In 2015, I was living in Hawaii, and I had been for many years. And I got very, very ill. And I went to lots of doctors, and nobody knew what to say or how to treat me. They didn't know what was wrong. And it was a completely devastating illness. I hurt all over. I had symptoms of flu and everything you can imagine. Lots of pain. Finally, one day, actually, I happened to make myself go to church, and someone at church said, I don't want to scare you, but I talked to a woman whose son has a disease called rat lungworm disease. He is in a coma, and they're about to pull the plug on him. And she said, no, don't pull the plug on him. I'll sit by his bedside in Hilo, Hawaii, and feed him naturopathic and Chinese medicine. And she did that, and she pulled him out of it. And because of that, for 3 months, because of her name is Kehao, because of her, I was told about her. I called her because I had the same symptoms as your son to discover that I had rat lungworm disease. And rat lungworm disease is a terrible, terrible parasite that frankly you won't hear much about because there's no real way to test for it. It's sort of like Lyme's disease used to be. The only thing that they can test is they can test your spinal fluid, and in the spinal fluid they can see elevation in the eosinophilic cells, but they never know when that is during the course of the disease. So I was informed by Kehao, don't even bother because it may or may not show it. It's dangerous to do a spinal tap with the illness that you have, if in fact that's what it is, because it comes from eating fresh raw vegetables that are grown in the ground, such as kale or lettuce. And what happens is a slug will crawl up on the kale or the lettuce, and in the slug trail there can be thousands and thousands of microscopic parasites in there. You don't know that because you can't see it. And you can't wash it off of the vegetable. You can't. Freezing doesn't work because they wake up, actually, if they get frozen, and then they'll wake up. The only way to kill it is if you cook it. So I was on a smoothie kick in September of 2015. I was using a lot of fresh kale from the local farmers. And so I was pretty sure that's how I got it. Most of us don't know how we get it. What happens is that when you eat that leafy vegetable, it goes into your stomach, and the microscopic parasites then goes through your stomach lining into the bloodstream as well as into your spinal fluid, and then they travel up to your brain. They hatch as worms in your brain, and yes, it is a nightmare. They eat your brain, they grow there, they also go everywhere else in your body, anywhere they feel like going. They're attacking your nervous system, your stomach. I have friends who have tumors in their everywhere, just everywhere. A lot of people have a ton of pain. The symptoms are unbelievable. I felt like every morning before I woke up, there was 10 minutes when the worms did not wake up. And so I had 10 minutes, and then I felt sort of okay. And then all of a sudden I could feel them crawling, and I could feel them crawling up here, across my forehead, into my left eye and my right ear. I could feel them crawling. I could feel them crawling across my chest. My stomach got distended. The actual symptoms are as long as single space, full page of paper. It just goes on and on, and it's incredibly horrendous. It's a horrendous experience, and it's called rat lungworm because we're not supposed to be hosts. It's supposed to only be in the rat. So the rat eats the slug that's infected. The slug eats the rat feces that's infected, and that's the cycle. So so when I heard what Kehao had to share, I knew that that's what I had, and I was pretty sure I knew where I got it from. So went to my naturopath. Luckily, I lived in a small town, so everything was only a few minutes away. I couldn't drive. I couldn't stand light. I couldn't stand noise. I couldn't work. I couldn't hardly function. And I knew what her son had gone through, so I knew that if I was going to die, it was going to be within 45 days-ish, and I knew the process of the disease. So I went to my naturopath, and I walked in and I said, Dr. Michaela, I have rat lungworm disease. She burst into tears. all sorts of things naturopathically and Chinese medicine-wise to help save me and bring my brain back. That was costing $150 to $183 every 3 days. My entire retirement was going away, but I was going to survive this thing. And so, moving right along, I was starting to feel better because in the IVs that I was getting, the antioxidant potential of within the IV was the vitamin C. So there were 50,000 milligrams of vitamin C in each IV, along with glutathione, along with lots of other things in the IV. So I would feel better for about an hour, and then the worms would wake up again and start doing their thing. But I slowly but surely started feeling better, but